Well, good morning and welcome to the Thursday after Ash Wednesday and, of course, our second day of Lent. Really drawn to the first reading today from the book of Deuteronomy in the Old Testament. A beautiful book and a beautiful reading. I think today's reading invites us to look at the way that we look at our lives and, of course, in so doing, the way that we look at God, His provision, and the joy or the amount of joy that will come in our lives because of God in our life. Moses is there with the Israelite community and speaking the words of God. God himself is speaking to the chosen people. He says today in Deuteronomy in the first reading, "Today I've set before you life and prosperity, death and doom." He's given Israel a choice. God has chosen Israel, and he says, okay, you have a choice. You can either choose life and prosperity, or you can choose death and doom. And of course, that came right after God gave them the Ten Commandments. Of course, that comes as God has given them his law, boundaries within which to live, a structure so that they can give their hearts to God and God can give his heart to them. He says, if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God, which I enjoin on you today, loving him and walking in his ways, keeping his commandments, statutes, and decrees, you will live and grow numerous, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land that you are entering to occupy. So God sets before the Israelite people the Ten Commandments and says, if you are in relationship with me, and if you live within the word that I give you, then you will have life. Your lives will be full. You will be prosperous. You will be blessed. And then God continues. However, if you turn away your hearts and will not listen, you will be led astray, and you will adore and serve other gods. I tell you now that you will certainly perish. You will not have a long life. I think there's this epic battle within the human heart to believe that. It plays out in our lives even today. Do we believe that living in God, surrendering our lives to him, is going to bring life and joy and prosperity? Or do we believe that we can provide for ourselves a life that is better than God? Now, I'm not talking about being passive and just letting God do everything for you. We have to engage in the process. But it's a real fundamental question for us. Do we believe that living fully in harmony with God is going to yield the life that is far better than a life that we could provide only on our own will and independent of God? Why is it that we turn away our hearts? Why is it that God wants us to give him our hearts, which was the reading, of course, from yesterday? Well, I think one of the reasons why, at least I in my own life, and I think a whole lot of us turn away from God, is because either we have tried to live a life of holiness, and the circumstances are it's just hard, and we don't see the life of blessing and prosperity that is promised to us in this reading today. Or we just have believed and I say this very reverently, so hear it with great love, the great American lie that I was told when I was a kid, that you can do whatever you want in life. You just work hard, kind of do it on your own, independent, and you can have whatever you want. And there's a posture of independence that's inside that lie, inside that disposition, that we can provide for ourselves more than what God can provide for us. So, of course, the reading ends today with choose life, so that you and your descendants may live in God. Be a good question for us as we start the journey of Lent today. Do you believe that God can provide for you a life far more prosperous and joy-filled than you can provide for yourself. Another good question for us today would be, where are we trying to do it on our own? Where are we trying to provide our own sense of joy and satisfaction? Well, it's a great time for us to look honestly at our hearts. Let's begin today by asking, do we believe that God wants to bless us, that God can bless us, and that the life that we will have because God's blessing us is far more filled with joy, far more filled with grace, and far more filled with the blessings that only God can provide than we can provide for ourselves. God bless you.